So here we're just going to start going through the grammar of things you can do with SQL. I'm going to try and just give you kind of a high-level overview of here's a bunch of really cool stuff you can do with SQL, and then you're going to learn to kind of mix and match all these things to fit the querying needs that you have. So we saw the first one already, select star from users. Pretty straightforward there. Oh yeah, let's do that first. So I want everyone to come to this page right now. Complete intro to databases, querying PostgreSQL, or just to show you here, it's this one here, 3 on SQL. And it says click here for a sample set of tables. So what this is an extremely long SQL query, or actually several. And we're going to run that, and it's going to put a bunch of sample data into our database. So if you click on that, Firefox is just going to say, where do you want me to save this? I'm just going to say, open this with Visual Studio Code. And you can see here, this is actually like 6,000 lines of something of SQL. So what this is going to do is it's going to drop all these tables if they exist, right? So it's actually going to drop our users table for us, and then it's going to recreate it. Only reason it does that is that you can rerun this at any time. It will always work. It's not going to complain at you. So if you accidentally drop one of your tables for fun, you can rerun this at any time. This will fix everything, I promise. So there are easier, fancy ways of just feeding it directly an SQL file to Postgres. I'm much too lazy to show you how to do that, so I'm just going to Command A, Command C, or Control A, Control C. So I'm going to copy and paste this directly into this and paste. And you can see this will take maybe about a minute. It's a lot of SQL flying at your database. But it's going to insert like 2,500 records into your database so that we can kind of play around with a bunch of these. Into the interim, while this is doing that, we're going to be talking about all the different ways that you can query Postgres. So we're going to do selects and inserts and updates and limits and all that kind of stuff. So relatively the same sort of things we learned about Mongo, we're going to learn the analogous behaviors here in Postgres. And depending on how fast your computer is and how fast it is at copying and pasting to Docker, this might take, a minute or so. You can see here mine's still going. There we go. So mine's all done now. So if I do \D, you can see here I should have a boards, comments, rich content, and users. So I have 4 tables that we're going to be playing around with today. And we'll go over each one of them. For right now, we're only going to be talking about users, and then we'll get into the other ones here in just a second. So we did select star from users. If we do this right now, we're going to get a lot of users. It's actually going to give you a more buffer, more as a Linux program, of all of your users. That's a lot. I don't want to do that right now, but that's what that would do. What would be more useful, can I just grab like 10 instead of all of them? Well, same way with Mongo, you can do limit. Here you can do limit 10. Let's even do less than that. Let's do limit 5. So this will grab the first 5 records in our database. So, by the way, these are all made up fake emails, made up fake names and stuff like that. So, yeah. Some of them will have last logins. You can see a bunch of these don't have last logins. But yeah, limit, that's a good one. If you know exactly how many records you want to grab. Let's do where. Well, let's do projection next. So we're doing star right here. So projection is just what we were showing before. You can do, let's select username and full name from users limit 5. You can see here this will only return this, which is obviously a lot easier to read. All right, let's do some where. So let's select username, email, user ID from users where user ID equals, user ID equals 150. So again, this is not, again, pretty easy to read. The order here is actually quite important. You must do the select. There's a specific order that these clauses have to come in. And when I say clause, this is a clause, this is a clause, that's a clause, right? So they do have to come in a specific order. We can see here this will select exactly one row where the user ID is 150, and we get this one.